The day your life turns around is rarely some cinematic moment with fireworks and trumpets and applause. It is almost never the day of the big triumph. Usually, it's the day you sit alone, frustrated, ashamed, angry at yourself, finally sick of your own excuses. Disgust with your own patterns is one of the most powerful forces on earth. Jim Rohn used to say, "You don't change when it's a nice idea. You change when you've had it." When something inside you snaps, the day when the price of your old behavior becomes more painful than the difficulty of change. Most people lie to themselves for years. They keep saying, "I will start tomorrow," or "life is unfair," or "I'm waiting for the right time," or "I just need one more chance." And they say it so often it becomes like a lullaby. But there comes a day, for some people, when all those lies stop working. That is the day they wake up. They look in the mirror and they don't try to sugarcoat anything anymore. They don't negotiate anymore. They don't try to invent magical reasons. They stop being cute with their language. They finally see that their excuses have cost them more than their enemies, more than the economy, more than the competition, more than injustice, more than bad luck, more than society. Because the honest truth, the brutal truth, is that excuses have done more damage to more people than circumstances ever could. That day when you get brutally honest with yourself is the day of transformation. It is not just a day of sadness. It is not a day of despair. It is a day of clarity. And clarity is a dangerous thing, because once you see the truth, you cannot unsee it. Once you see that you are the problem, you also instantly see that you are the solution. Once you see that you have been casual, lazy, unfocused, inconsistent, addicted to comfort, addicted to distraction, you suddenly realize the enemy is not out there, it is in here. And in that moment, the power returns back to your hands. Because if the cause is you, the cure is you. And that is why disgust is useful. Disgust is not weakness, it is a trigger. The trigger that ends delusion. The trigger that ends the emotional anesthesia. You finally feel the pain you were avoiding, and pain is fuel. Pain is data, pain is information, pain is honest feedback from reality. Pain is your life speaking to you, saying, if you continue like this, nothing good will happen. Nothing changes until the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the fear of change. What most people misunderstand is that nothing external needs to happen first. You don't need a tragedy, you don't need a miracle, you don't need a crisis, you don't need someone to betray you. You don't need to hit rock bottom. Sometimes you just need to look at yourself and say, enough of this version. Enough of these patterns. Enough of this standard. Enough of this laziness. Enough of this mediocre level of living. And in that moment you raise your standards. And life always rises or falls to the level of your standards. You never get what you want, you get what you tolerate, and the day your life turns around is the day you stop tolerating your own B-grade effort, the day you stop negotiating your potential, the day you stop protecting your comfort zone, the day you stop defending the very habits that are destroying you, the day you say no more. To being average in something you know you can be extraordinary in. Now, what actually makes this day powerful is not the emotion itself, but what emotion forces you to decide. Disgust is the spark, but decision is the flame, because there is a day when the decision is final. Not emotional, not dramatic, just final. The door closes, no going back. No one can talk you out of it. No one can distract you. That's the day when you switch identity. Before that day, you assay why you want it. After that day, you live like you want it. You change your environment. You change what you consume. You change who you talk to. You change what you do with your time. That single moment of absolute inner revolt ends one life and begins another. And nobody needs to see it. Nobody needs to congratulate you. Nobody needs to believe in you. Nobody needs to validate you. Nobody needs to witness it. It happens privately, quietly, internal. but the consequences of that moment become visible very soon in the external world. Success is not born on the day you win. Success is born on the day you refuse to lose anymore. The day you get disgusted with your own excuses, that is the day the rest of your life begins. Change begins the moment you accept absolutely full responsibility, because until you do, you always leave an open door for excuses to sneak back in. Responsibility is not about blame, it's about ownership. When you blame, you hand over your power. When you own, you take it back. When you blame the economy, you hand your financial future to the economy. When you blame your parents, you hand your future to your past. When you blame your circumstances, you declare that circumstances run your outcomes, not you. And as long as you believe that someone or something outside of you determines your destiny, you will never fully do what is required, because part of you will always be waiting. Waiting for the system to improve, waiting for someone to apologize, waiting for a better environment, waiting for someone to behave differently, waiting for luck, waiting for motivation, waiting for convenience, waiting for timing, waiting for some external green light. And the most dangerous thing about waiting is it feels justified. It feels rational. Waiting feels like I'm being patient or I'm being realistic. But most waiting is not patience. Most waiting is just a comfortable stall. Responsibility is when you stop lying to yourself about all that. Responsibility is when you take all the reasons you think you can't grow, and you burn them. Responsibility is the death of denial. Responsibility is the moment you say, if it's to be, it's up to me, not partially up to me, not maybe up to me. Not if the stars align, then maybe up to me, but fully up to me 100%. Because in the final analysis, your results don't care about your explanations. Your bank account doesn't care about your excuses. Your health doesn't care about your justifications. Your career doesn't care about who hurt you 5 years ago. Life responds to performance, not explanations. The day you stop explaining why you can't is the day you start building why you must become stronger, why you must invest in yourself, why you must improve your skills, why you must raise your standards, why you must live differently than the average person. Because average people collect excuses like trophies. They trade stories of why they couldn't. They build entire identities out of helplessness. They surround themselves with others who agree that it's not their fault. And they find a strange comfort in that, mutual validation of powerlessness. But high achievers, the ones who actually turn their lives around, they don't do that. They assume the burden. They say, I let this happen. I allowed this standard. I allowed this habit. I allowed this mediocrity, and because I allowed it, I can end it. Responsibility is not self-attack. Responsibility is liberation. The moment you realize you are responsible, you are free. When you are responsible, nobody needs to rescue you. When you are responsible, nobody needs to motivate you. When you are responsible, nobody needs to believe in you. Responsibility makes you self-sufficient. Responsibility makes your own will the main engine. Responsibility makes your discipline the main source of energy. Life becomes very different when you stop asking who is to blame and start asking, what can I do? Because that question, what can I do, is the beginning of power. Every time you ask, what can I do, your mind will find answers. I can learn. I can practice, I can improve, I can seek mentors, I can change what I consume, I can change who I spend time with, I can move differently, I can set higher rules for my day. Responsibility opens up hundreds of possible actions where excuses only open up more helplessness. Responsibility wakes you up. Excuses sedate you. Responsibility forces you to confront your capabilities. Excuses protect you from confronting your potential, but at the cost of your whole future. One of the most important shifts of adulthood is the shift from external control to internal control. When you are a child, the world decides for you. When you are an adult, you decide for you. But many people never emotionally graduate. They stay in the psychology of a child, forever waiting for someone else to make it work. But the day you truly accept responsibility is the day you become an adult in the real sense. The day you say, I am the cause, I am the source, I am the factor, I am the variable. If I want different, I must become different. Not hope different, not complain different, become different in mindset, in habits, in use of time. In standards, in discipline. Responsibility is the first turning point of any transformation. Responsibility is the foundation that all progress is built on. Because if you don't believe you have control, you won't act like someone who does. And if you don't act, you will never find out how powerful you actually are. Responsibility is not a burden, it is the price of power. And the day you decide to pay that price is the day life finally turns in your favor. Every life changes when values change, and most people don't understand the power of that sentence. They think their results will change when their feelings change, or when their motivation gets stronger, or when circumstances become easier. But results are the echo of values. Your values quietly dictate every choice you make, every habit you repeat, every standard you accept, every boundary you hold, every person you keep or cut, every skill you choose to learn or avoid. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your values. Goals are cheap, values are expensive. Values are the silent agreements you've made with yourself about what matters, what is permitted, what is unacceptable. And when values upgrade, behavior upgrades automatically, not by force, not by hype, not by temporary motivation, but by identity. If a person values comfort over growth, they will always choose what is easy rather than what is necessary. They can talk big, dream big, visualize big, but when the moment of choice comes, comfort will win. Because comfort is the governing value. But if someone values growth over comfort, everything changes. They will voluntarily walk into difficulty. They will volunteer for discomfort. They will choose the boring discipline instead of the entertaining distraction. Because their values have re-ranked what matters most. Jim Rohn used to say, "We are not creatures of circumstance, we are creatures of decisions." I will add, and decisions are creatures of values. If a person values approval over authenticity, they will live a life designed to please people instead of one designed to satisfy their soul. They will avoid judgment and avoid risk, because in the hierarchy of their values, not being judged is higher than becoming who I really can be. If someone values security more than possibility, they will stay small. They will sabotage opportunities that require courage. They will choose predictable misery over risky potential. And then they will call the world unfair, when the truth is, their values built their cage. You can know someone's true values not by what they say, why is important to them, but by what they consistently do. If someone says health is important, but they always choose sugar and zero movement, their value is pleasure, not health. If someone says wealth is important, but they spend money to impress instead of to invest, their value is image, not wealth building. Values can lie inside your language, but the truth about values is always in the pattern of your actions. Values reveal themselves in repetition. When your values become sharper, your decisions become sharper. You no longer waste time debating what you already know. Your values make decisions for you automatically. If honesty is a value, lying is not an option even if lying is convenient. If learning is a value, scrolling is boring. If mastery is a value, consistency is non-negotiable. Values eliminate the need for constant motivation because values lock in direction. They guide like a compass, and when your compass is calibrated correctly, progress becomes inevitable. Results are simply the harvest of the values you've allowed to rule you. If your life right now is average, it is because the values running your life are average. Average values produce average outcomes. You cannot have elite results with common values. Impossible. All transformation begins with upgrading values, changing the hierarchy inside you, deciding that certain things from this moment forward will be placed higher, and other things will be placed lower, deciding that comfort is no longer king, deciding that approval is no longer currency, deciding that learning is more important than entertainment, deciding that discipline is more valuable than mood, deciding that long-term reward is superior to short-term comfort, that one reordering of values is more powerful than buying a course, hiring a coach, reading 20 books, going to therapy, or listening to 1,000 motivational videos. Those all help, but none of them matter if your values stay low. It's like planting seeds in dead soil. The soil is your values. The seed is your knowledge. If the soil is weak, the seed dies. If the soil is fertile, every seed grows. So the transformation is not outside, it is inside. You have to decide what kind of soil you want to become. Because when values elevate, everything else elevates automatically. And if you don't like the fruit in your life, stop complaining about the fruit and fix the tree. The roots of the tree are your values, the fruit is your results. Change the roots, and the fruit cannot stay the same. Results are not emotional, results are mechanical. This is one of the most liberating truths in the world. But most people don't like it because it kills their drama. People want their emotions to matter more than their work. But life does not pay you because you are angry or sad, or tired or offended. Life does not deposit money because you feel like you deserve more. Life does not reward entitlement. Life rewards arithmetic. You either plant enough seeds or you don't. You either read enough pages or you don't. You either make enough calls or you don't. You either practice enough hours or you don't. Discipline is not subjective, it is countable. The universe is not personal, the universe is procedural. Your emotions might explain your lack of results, but they do not excuse them. You can cry every night about your financial situation, but if you don't change your skill, nothing moves. You can scream about how unfair the world is, but the world is not listening. The world is busy responding to people who are silently doing the work. When you think results are emotional, you try to negotiate with reality. You say things like, "I tried." But reality only measures what you produced, not what you attempted. People say, "I worked hard." Okay, but did you work effectively and consistently? People say, "I stayed busy." Okay, but did you move the needle? People say, "I want it so badly." Okay, but wanting is not a productive action. Results are not tied to desire, they are tied to execution. This truth hurts at first, but then it sets you free because it removes confusion. At the end, success really is a math problem. You need X repetitions of skill practice to become competent. You need X content pieces to get traction. You need X attempts to find the right opportunity. You need X calls to close Y clients. You need X calories to maintain Z weight. It's math. If you don't like your results, adjust the math. Increase the reps. Increase the output. Increase the hours. Increase the intensity. Increase the focus. Motivation is not the variable. Math is the variable. Nobody likes hearing that because it means excuses lose their power. It means your special psychological story is not special. It means discipline beats suffering. This is why high achievers tend to be extremely unemotional about work. They don't sit around analyzing how they feel today. They have a target, they know the numbers required to hit that target, and they work the numbers. Their identity is built around process, not drama. They track habits like a scientist, they measure inputs. They count the repetitions, because they know something most people never realize. Results have no sympathy. Results don't care that you are overwhelmed. Results don't care that things are hard for you. Results don't care that your parents didn't support you. Results don't care that you're insecure. Results don't care about your past. The scoreboard only cares about score. If more people treated their life like a gym logbook, they would improve faster. In the gym, you can't lie. The weight either moved or it didn't. You lifted it or you didn't. That clarity removes self-deception. Every goal in life should be treated that way. You either posted or you didn't. You either studied or you didn't. You either saved or you didn't. You either invested or you didn't. You either practiced or you didn't. Clarity removes excuses, and that clarity is what the average person avoids. Average people prefer emotional narratives because those stories protect their ego. They say things like, "I didn't succeed because I'm unlucky," because it's easier than saying, "I didn't produce enough output." The moment you accept that results are mechanical, you become powerful because now you can control outcomes by controlling actions. You no longer negotiate with yourself. You don't wait to feel like it. You execute because execution is the only lever that moves results. Consistency becomes a character trait, not a mood. And the more consistent you become, the more predictable your results become. You start to see success as a timeline problem, not a luck problem. You understand that if you stay consistent long enough, the math has to pay you. It has no choice. Drama is expensive. Metrics are cheap. Drama consumes your time, drains your energy, and gives you nothing. Metrics are simple. Do more reps, do higher quality reps. Repeat the reps longer than most people are willing to. The compound effect is inevitable when you obey the math. When you realize all this deeply, you stop being romantic about goals. Goals become instructions, and discipline becomes the only language you respect. This is when progress becomes automatic. This is when emotion stops controlling you, and arithmetic begins to transform you. When your purpose becomes higher than your fear, and higher than your comfort, you become unstoppable. This is not poetic language. This is literal. Fear is powerful. Comfort is powerful. But purpose is more powerful than both when it is real. Most people lose to fear because their purpose is weak. Most people lose to comfort because their purpose is vague. Fear is not the enemy. Fear is just louder than weak purpose. Comfort is not the enemy. Comfort is just more persuasive than vague purpose. But a purpose that is sharp, personal, meaningful, non-negotiable, purpose that comes from identity, not from wishful thinking, that kind of purpose burns through fear like a laser. It makes comfort feel like poison. It changes everything. People think they need more confidence. No. People need more purpose. When you have purpose, you don't beg yourself to act, you are pulled. You become pulled by something deeper than mood, deeper than emotion, deeper than circumstance. Purpose gives pain a reason. And when pain has a reason, pain becomes fuel instead of discouragement. The most dangerous, powerful sentence that a human can ever say is "I have decided." Not "I hope," not "I want," not "I will try," not "one day," but "I have decided." That sentence is a funeral for your old self. That sentence is a declaration issued inside your nervous system. The day you decide with finality, that is the day your life turns around. And finality is the word. Finality means there is no debate, there is no negotiation, there is no plan B. When people have a plan B, they never fully commit to plan A. Safety nets are nice emotionally, but they are destructive psychologically. They give you permission to half commit. They let you escape discomfort the moment discomfort arrives. They give fear a backdoor. Purpose closes the back door. Purpose locks the door from the inside. Purpose kills the option to retreat. The moment you commit fully, the mind reorganizes. Identity reorganizes. Habits reorganize. Energy reorganizes. You start attracting people who are aligned with that direction. You start noticing information that matches that direction. You start thinking in patterns that match that direction. When you are committed, the world feels like it opens. Opportunities were always there, you just weren't tuned into them. Purpose tunes your mind like a radio frequency to see what was invisible before. Purpose makes you resourceful. People think they lack resources. They don't. They lack resourcefulness. And resourcefulness is mostly just commitment in action. When you are committed, you will find a way or you will create a way. But when you are not committed, you will find an excuse or you will create an excuse. Fear stops people because they keep giving fear too much respect. Fear is nothing but imagination misused. Fear is the story your mind writes about what might go wrong. Purpose rewrites a new story, a story about what must go right. When you have purpose, fear becomes background noise. You don't kill fear. You just drown it out with something louder, purpose. And comfort. Comfort is a drug. Comfort is a sedative. Comfort is how people die before they die. Comfort kills ambition by slow poison. Comfort tricks you into believing that life is fine when it is actually shrinking. But when purpose enters the room, comfort becomes expensive. Comfort becomes a trap you cannot afford. Comfort becomes something that feels disgusting to your future self. And that is when comfort loses its seduction. What is unstoppable? Unstoppable is not perfect. Unstoppable is not fearless. Unstoppable is not bulletproof. Unstoppable simply means, I will not quit. I will not negotiate. I will not let mood override mission. I will not let comfort replace destiny. I will not let fear outrank purpose. Unstoppable is identity. Unstoppable is a decision about who you are and who you will never again be. Unstoppable is a baseline you set with yourself. I will show up whether I feel like it or not. And that is why the day your purpose becomes higher than your fear and higher than your comfort is the inflection point of your existence. Because that is the day your identity switches from passive to active, from victim to creator, from spectator to player, from talker to doer, from potential to trajectory. Life rewards the committed. Life rewards the decisive. Life rewards the person who says this is the direction and I will bend reality with repetition until reality matches the vision. Success is not a lucky accident. Success is the side effect of a decision you refuse to walk away from. The day you decide with finality,